Call the meeting to order. Dr. Deegan, would you lead us in the pledge?
Today I'm asking Laura, our future chef winner, if she will lead us in the pledge.
Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Call roll, please.
Ms. Bradley? Yes. Ms. Clodfelter?
Here.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Ms. Edwards? Mr. Jester?
Here.
Colonel King?
Okay. So, Dr. Deegan, we've got some special guests and recognitions.
We do. We have several today, two categories. But first, we just met Nora, but I'm going to pass this off to Steve Dyer, and he's going to recognize our 2019 Future Chef Cooking Culinary Competition overall winner. Awesome. Mr. Dyer.
Good evening, Board. I'm Steve Dyer, General Manager for Sodexo and Director for Lawton Public Schools Child Nutrition Department. Each year, our team hosts a Future Chefs cooking competition locally, and then we go on to compete nationally with other school districts across the country. The purpose of this annual event is to teach children about healthy food preparation and about healthy eating lifestyles. For me, this event is one of the most fun and fascinating or interesting events of the entire school year. The creativity of our students is so amazing. They impress us each year, year after year, and they have so much culinary talent in our district. They're just so much fun to work with. Before I introduce this year's Future Chef winner, I would like to thank the contestants that competed in this contest, their parents, numerous volunteers, and the community at large for supporting this event. The prizes were donated by local merchants, and we want to give special thanks to Lawton Public Schools Communication Department for broadcasting this event live around the world. We very much appreciate having board members and our administrators present at this event, and it was just so great to see you there. We hope you enjoy this year's edition of the cookbook, which is on your table. There's lots of really fantastic pictures and recipes we hope you enjoy. And I could go on, but let me stop. I want to introduce this year's Future Chef Cooking Competition champion, a fourth grader from Carriage Hills Elementary, Nora Diallo.
Before this experience, I would help out my mom in the kitchen, watch cooking shows, and read a little bit of cookbooks. But until recently, I didn't really cook. I just never really thought about it. When I received a letter saying that I could compete in a cooking competition, I thought it would be a fun thing to try out. And it was. It helped me learn more about cooking and encouraged me to continue cooking. Thank you, Sodexo and Lawton Public Schools, for giving me and other kids this opportunity.
All right. I would like to have the parents come up and let's just take a photo real fast, okay? So, thank you. Lynn, could you do that? So let's just come in right here. Right here. Thank you.
Nora, I don't think I got to taste yours because it was gone before. It was gone so fast. Very popular. Yes, it was. So thank you all. Under item 4B, this is really a special night and that we do every year. This is Excellence in Education. Tonight, this is just a sampling because not all the students we invited could make it. So this is just a fraction. These are National Merit and National Hispanic Scholars, Oklahoma Academic Scholars, and Outstanding Performance on ACT. These are our seniors who really are just the best of the best academically. And again, this is only a fraction of them, but I'm going to pass this off to Miss Kelly Trinidad, and she's going to honor these special students.
Good evening. I'm Kelly Trinidad, Executive Director of Secondary Education, which means that I have the honor of overseeing all of our high schools, our middle schools. And I want to let you know that tonight we've got the privilege of presenting some very special awards and some recognition to many of our outstanding students. These young men and women have worked hard to achieve their accomplishments, and it's with great honor that we present the following awards: National Merit Scholar, Oklahoma Academic Scholar, as recognized by the State Department of Education, National Hispanic Scholars, Academic All-State for Excellence in Education, and Outstanding Performance on the ACT of 30 or higher. These achievements are not easily obtained. Achieving an ACT score of 30 or higher is impressive in and of itself, especially considering that the average score for the state of Oklahoma is 19.4 and the district average is 19.31. Not only have these students achieved a score of 30, but several of these students have scored even higher than 30. Likewise, obtaining the National Scholarship is very competitive. For instance, over 1.6 million students in more than 22,000 high schools enter the competition. Only 16,000 of the 1.6 are selected as semifinalists. Some semifinalists are selected from the 16,000 and are considered commended scholars. And by the conclusion of the competition, only 7,500 finalists in the U.S. are selected. Regarding the National Hispanic Merit, the program was established in 1983. It's a college board program that recognizes the academic achievements of Hispanic high school seniors and identifies them for post-secondary institutions. Approximately 4,800 of the highest scoring students from an initial pool of 150,000 students are recognized as scholars or honorably mentioned finalists. The Academic All-State for Excellence in Education is a highly competitive program in Oklahoma, and only 100 students are selected for this honor in the state of Oklahoma. Lastly, the Oklahoma Academic Scholar, as recognized by the State Department, results from a 3.7 unweighted GPA and a score of 27 or higher on the ACT. So, without further ado, it's time to meet these distinguished students and each of their principals who will be presenting these awards to them. I'd like to offer up an early congratulations to each one of you. First, we'd like to hear from Dr. Regina Deloach, Head Principal of Eisenhower Senior High School.
Hello. Eagles, come and make a line for me up here. Just make a line. Okay. First of all, I have Marcos Bernier. He is a recipient of a National Merit Hispanic Scholar Certificate, as well as an outstanding performance on the ACT certificate. Parents, if you want to take a picture. Okay. If you want to take a picture, okay. Yeah, you can go right out there. Go right out there. Mm-hmm. No, Mark. Okay, go. Mm-hmm. Okay, and just remain standing right there because I want to get a group picture of you at the end. Okay, Gabrielle Barber is an outstanding performance on the ACT, as well as Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Okay. I have Emily Gill, outstanding performance on the ACT, as well as Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Okay. I'm just going to call all their names, even though they might not be here. Michael Graham, Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. And turn face down. Mark Hanna, Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Okay. Kylie Kerr, Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Okay. Courtney McEwen, Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Preston Meek, outstanding performance on the ACT, as well as Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Abigail Phelps, Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Okay, Elizabeth Probst, she's not here, but she was our National Merit Scholar. She graduated early this year. Rebecca Seville, outstanding performance on the ACT, as well as Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Caden Wilmoth, outstanding performance on the ACT, as well as Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. All of you just remain standing right there. I just want to get one last group picture.
And now I'd like to introduce Head Principal Tony Jones of Lawton Senior High.
Good evening. Would all the Lawton High Wolverines who are present please line up? You can go. Oh, come on. Is gymnastics behind me? Guys come out everywhere. I want to go ahead and say everyone's name, even the ones who are not in attendance, because they deserve it. We have Ms. Jolene Callan. She is receiving an award for Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition, as well as outstanding performance on the ACT. We have Mr. Kyler Jendersek. He's getting an award for Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition and outstanding performance on the ACT. We have Mr. Robert Hillis. He's receiving an award for the Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Daniel Kim, Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Daniel Park, Oklahoma Academic Scholar. Yuli Vasquez, Oklahoma Academic Scholar recognition. Let's give him another round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce Head Principal of MacArthur High School, Ms. Laura Pacino.
Good evening. It is a great honor for me to be here to recognize these wonderful Highlanders. So Highlanders, could you please come up? Join us. Over there? Good. Okay. Please do. Please come on in, everybody. I'm also going to mention everyone's names because they do deserve this. And I can tell you that it's also senior week, so there's a lot of activities, so that some of them didn't get to make it. So we have the 2019 Oklahoma Academic All-State that goes to Alistair Schweitzkopf, who is not here. We have two, National Hispanic Scholars, Romeo Garcia. Would you come, please? Thank you. Congratulations. You want to take a picture? Okay. Also, Eduardo Ponce. Okay, not present. We also have the outstanding performance on the ACT. So let's see, that would be Romeo Garcia again. Come up, say. Congratulations. Okay, Terrence Jackson. Congratulations, Terrence. Good job. Eduardo Ponce. Alistair Schwarzkopf. Keegan Yarbrough. Thank you. There you go. Thank you, Keegan. Okay. We also have the Oklahoma Academic Scholar Recognition. Evan Capuccio. It's right here. Romeo Garcia. Could just stay. Thanks, Romeo. Good job. Christopher Hanna. He's not here. Terrence Jackson. Thank you, Terrence. Raphael Ong. Not here. Eduardo Ponce. Okay. Jace Shara. Congratulations, Jace. Christopher Smith. Good job, Chris. Very proud of you. And again, Alistair Schwarzkopf, who could not make it. And I just want to say congratulations again, Highlanders. You're wonderful. Appreciate you. Okay. Thank you. Good job, guys.
Now, students and parents, there are punch and cookies out there. Please partake, and if you want to stay, you may, but if you want to
It's exciting.
go, you're free to go as well. Thank you all very much. Very impressive. Good job. Hey, Romeo, I like the vest.
I do too.
Tell you.
Okay. We have Corey Miller here for architect's report when everybody gets up.
Yeah, I'll give him a
Wait
second.
till everybody
to close.
gets-
I'll have
We'll
her close the door.
Shut the door because they'll be out there.
Yes,
talking
we
to
do.
me.
My computer shut down.
I can make sure I roll my mouse.
Mine's on a short shutdown schedule.
Bye, Piper. Piper.
Amazing how fast it clears away.
Miss Trinidad, would you do me a favor? They'll be talking out there when they,
Shut the
could you
door.
shut the door when they get through? Oh, and let our staff that have been waiting through also.
You got stuck in the hall.
Okay, now, Corey Miller with architect report. Oh, there's a construction management. I didn't see those guys.
They were hidden over there in the crowd.
We've got some guests with us.
Yeah.
I've got a site plan I'm going to hand out for the board. Good evening, I'm Corey Miller with AIP, and just a brief update tonight. We've got a lot of projects that are coming to a close here this summer. The Lawton High Windows project achieved substantial completion, and that form is on the agenda later tonight to be approved. The Adams re-roof project also achieved substantial completion and is on the agenda later tonight, as well as a deductive change order returning the unused portion of contingency to the owner. The MacArthur High School cafeteria project has achieved final completion, and we've got the final pay app submitted for that to close that project out. The safe room projects, we've got Woodland Hills with substantial completion. I think that form will be on the next board agenda. We've also got bids in on Whittier, but those are still being vetted, and we'll go over that next month. The furniture project, we've started design there. We're aiming for a 35% design review for May 30th, and we've got a bid advertisement in the works for August 1st, and that'll put us on par for installation to be complete by the end of March and get us moved in right after testing. The fire alarm project at MacArthur High School, we've got a contract with Index prepared for the board for approval tonight. And the Almore West gym repair, that structural repair, has been completed, and the students are back in there for end-of-year activities. Wanted to briefly introduce an item that I'd like to walk in tonight for a underground right-of-way easement from PSO at the Carriage Hills Safe Room site. That's the site plan that I just gave you, and it graphically shows that that easement goes from the northwest corner of the building on northwest to the corner of the site. That's an easement that we've been planning all along. This is just the paperwork to make it final and get permanent power hooked up. But we just got the review finished from the civil engineer, and so that's being walked in tonight. A little late for the agenda, I apologize. Graphically, you know, that site plan shows you where it's at. We just won't be able to build on it in the future, but it seems to be conveniently placed. I don't think you'll need to. Are there any questions on that? There are not.
We got this too late to get on the agenda, so later we'll put in a new business with board president's approval.
Thank you, Corey. All right, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So first thing, I promised you guys a status report. I did not forget. I've been gone for the past 2 weeks, so you will have that for your next board meeting. So I apologize for that. Jumping into our weather delays, we're currently at 45 days behind schedule due to weather, and currently right now we're anticipating maybe to make up a week or two of that, but I do not anticipate being able to make up the entire 45 days. I'll be able to know a lot more once we actually finish the building pad itself. So we're still anticipating around mid-August, August 31st, late August. And then from there, we'll be able to see what we can really make up once we start getting roofs on and doing interiors. That's what we'll be able to make up a lot of time. So jumping into our area of work of what we have going on currently. We are currently in Area B, which is your music room and some of the classrooms on the north side. So we're doing steel. The safe room that's in Area B is complete as far as CMU is concerned. And so we are also starting the waterproofing in Area D. So if you start seeing the CMU turn blue, that's what that is. Also, the brick is getting ready to start next week on Area D on the gym, on the west gym. And then we are also getting ready to start prepping for our roof, which is looking at around 2 weeks from now. So currently that is our update where we're at right now. Pending any questions, that's all that I have. All right, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Good evening. I'm Josh Jaycox with Crossland. I'm going to talk to safe rooms. So far we have Edison, Almore, Woodland Hills, all completed with substantial completion. Hugh Bish, we were punching it on Friday. We'll be walking it Friday after we do the ribbon cutting ceremony. So we have 3 ribbon cuttings on Friday morning and a groundbreaking for Whittier. And then on Tuesday the 21st, we have the other 4 ribbon cuttings. And then from there, we have Crosby Park on the 24th of May, Carriage Hills on the 31st, and Sullivan Village on the 7th. We're still on track for all of them to be substantial by the 7th of June. Right now, at Crosby Park, we're starting carpet next week, starting to put ceiling tiles in beginning of next week and this week, and then millwork will be installed. Carriage Hills, currently finishing up painting and all the MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. They're all doing their overheads in the building and finishing up their tie-ins, and we'll start ceilings in that building. And then over at Sullivan Village, we are placing sheetrock and fixing to start tape and texture and mud. So, any questions for safe rooms?
Looking forward to Friday.
Yeah. So, I'll see everybody on Friday, tomorrow.
But some of them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so departmental reports.
Under item 6A, we have, and yes, gentlemen, you may leave if you like. We have, under item 6A, we have the written reports, and if the board doesn't have any further question about those, I will move on to 6B.
Okay.
And this is presentation of departmental goals of the Big Rocks by the members of the board of the district support team. This is an update from September 4th, 2018, when we started this process, and I'm going to ask Ms. Ellis to come up. But I'm not going to steal any of your thunder, Ms. Ellis, but I am going to make a couple comments. First of all, we had on my schedule that I provided the board back in September that this would happen in April. That was delayed. I can't remember what happened, but I think we had several things on the agenda. But May turned out to be a better time due to all the other things going on in April, testing and everything else, didn't want to take. But I want to point out that the hard work, they started their goal planning session, our district support team, started their goal planning session last July. And throughout this process, we've learned a tremendous amount, but I just want to say how proud I am of the district support team members. We quit calling them the leadership team last year because they truly have transitioned. They are recognized as support for the district. And the principals, I believe, see them that way, and they really are the support team for the entire district. So I'm going to pass it off to Ms. Ellis, and I'll try to be quiet, Ms. Ellis.
Thank you, and good afternoon to the board members that are here. It is my pleasure, Barbara Ellis, Assistant Superintendent of Business Operations, to present to you the end of the year report on accountability. As Dr. Deegan has said, we started this venture in September 4th, and all of us came forward and presented in the 4 areas of accountability the particular goal or big rock that we were working on at that particular time. We're going to do it a little differently tonight. As problem solvers, we are engaged in finding solutions where the data shows that there is a need to increase opportunities and productivity for engaging students and increasing academic achievement. Each of our department supervisors at that particular time identified 3 big rocks that they wanted to work on. Not the only things that they were working on, but 3 big ones, three that were very evident that needed to be supported. And at the end of the year, we wanted to present to you the summary and how this all tied together during the year that's specifically related to those in your areas of accountability, so that you will be able to reflect on how we've done that, made that effort happen. So you have in front of you a printed booklet. It looks like this one. And in this booklet, there's a summary by each one of the supervisors. And rather than have each one of them come forward tonight, we're going to have the executive director or the chief financial officer come forward with all of the members from their team, but that will be the person that will be speaking to you in an effort to make sure that we finish in a timely manner. If you have questions, we will be very glad to refer that to the person accountable for that. Hopefully, this will save just a little bit of time at the closure of this board meeting. Please remember, this is only an overview. This is not everything that has been done, nor does it mean that that particular big rock doesn't have emphasis next year as well. We may have moved it to a certain margin, or it may be a margin that still needs to be increased, such as academic achievement or safety and security and so on. So as we move forward, I'm going to begin with Brenda Hatch, and she will begin with educational services. Mrs. Hatch.
Good evening. I'm Brenda Hatch, Executive Director of Teaching and Learning, and I have the privilege of working with 2 outstanding directors of elementary education, Ms. Amy Frazier and Ms. Karen Cooksey. And I'm here this evening to update you on the progress of the goals that we shared with you this fall. In September, Amy shared her big rock of building the leadership capacity of elementary principals. She reported that there were 16 principals who had been in their current position for 2 years or less. So her plan was to provide training on both technical and adaptive skills, allow the principals to collaborate, and guide them to set individual goals to promote their professional growth. So through principal meetings that were very focused on professional development, through monthly Leadership Academy workshops with those principals, and weekly Shepherd coaching visits, she helped principals make tremendous growth. The development of the principals was not only evident in their daily interactions with students, teachers, and parents, but also on their McGrill evaluation and on the competency levels for principals. Several of those assistant principals and principals were also promoted to new positions for next year, so exciting growth and leadership capabilities of that team. Karen's big rock was to track trend data and develop aligned action steps in response to that data. In the world of education, this is a goal that will always be ongoing. There will never be a done, but to make progress on this goal, Karen worked with David Irwin to establish what we called a comprehensive data sheet that automatically sorts students by subgroups, and that became very important this year with our new A through F report card system. Teachers are able to pull real-time data that includes assessment, behavior, and attendance. She assisted principals in developing site semester action plans that addressed the school's needs. She monitored teacher action plans that were developed at the sites following interim assessment windows to make sure that data was driving instruction. She even differentiated her time and support that she gave to schools based on their needs. Ms. Cooksey also conducted on-site training so principals could understand the new state A through F report card and the website dashboard tool that they provided. This training allowed principals and teachers to dive deeper into each indicator and each subgroup and understand the report card and what measures they needed to make to show growth. My big rock was to develop and implement a common district quality instruction framework. Prior to this year, we had never formally communicated what quality instruction should look like in the classroom. So to move this work forward, we completed phase 1 of that framework that included the classroom culture, which deals with classroom management and behavior, and communicating learning goals. So we trained the instructional leaders, the Rookie Club teachers, mentor teachers, and principals on these components. We also trained principals on how to use the framework during their classroom observation feedback cycles, and we even conducted walkthroughs with the principals so we could calibrate and make sure that our expectations were aligned. We've already determined the steps to creating the next phase of the framework, and it'll roll out next year based on 2 books that we're using. One is called Get Better Faster, and the other is called Teach Like a Champion. So we're looking forward to implementing that, and it'll not only be the shepherds doing the work at the school, but also the, also the curriculum instruction and assessment department will be helping with that as well. That's another goal that's not going to be completed overnight. That's always evolving, but our goal this year was just to clarify the expectations, train the educators on the components, and then help the principals, mentors, and shepherds in helping to provide that growth through the observation feedback cycle. In September, I also shared Fred Roloff's big rock from the assessment department. And in Fred's absence now, Teresa Jackson, Emily Anderson, and Joan Gableman have stepped up to the plate to complete our district assessment requirements, and gosh, we appreciate everything that they have done. Fred's big rock was to provide teachers with interim assessment results within a 48-hour turnaround time. Since all interim assessments were now taken online, teachers were given those results immediately through the USA Test Prep data charts. This short turnaround time allowed data to drive instruction and allowed the teachers to begin writing their action plans to focus on what students had not yet mastered. Like Ms. Ellis said, there are so many other things that we could celebrate, but I just wanted to give you an overview on the ones that we presented in September. If you have any questions, we would be happy to answer those questions for you. Yes.
I see specific groups that you've trained. Were there teachers that were not given the instruction?
So what we've done with LCI, and that's whenever I said the instructional leaders, because every building has one teacher per grade level that comes to LCI. So as we train that group of teachers, their job is to go back at faculty meetings and help train their staff. Plus their principal is also attending LCI, and we provided this training at principal meetings, so they should also be taking that information back to their staff at faculty meetings. Good question. Yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hatch.
Good evening. I'm Kelly Trinidad, Executive Director of Secondary Education. Of course, I had big rocks like everyone else, and I have quite a few directors here who also are very pleased to be reporting on theirs. My primary goal that I initially reported to you was related to graduation rates. And you'll recall we were working on cohort graduations for last year, and of course, we don't have our graduation rates for this year yet. But I can report that LHS increased their 2018 cohort graduation rate up to 78.54. That was a gain of 22.45%. MHS increased theirs up to 90.37. That was an increase of 21.6%. EHS increased theirs up to 85.04, and that was an increase of 21.5. This was done in a lot of different ways. This was some profound work. We created grade level teams of an AP counselor and attendance clerk. They worked in tandem together to identify those kids, find out where they had gone. All of those placements of those positions will be placed on all campuses by the August 1920 school year. Regular interventions of sessions with high-risk students, we would bring them in. You're missing credits. Let's talk about what that is, what's causing that. We've offered up increased blended learning and virtual learning opportunities through early offerings of Odysseyware. That allowed them to gain those credits and increase graduation, and we'll be initiating an ICAP program to personalize student learning for the 1920 school year. So work on this continues. My first director who I have, and I'll ask her to please at least stand and be recognized, is Director of Middle Schools, Carol McPhail. Carol's right there. Her goal was increase academic achievement based on STAR 316 reading progress reports. Her middle schools were on track for improvement. They moved from a 713 up to a 786 this year. Her math in her middle schools were on track for improvement. They moved from a 745 up to a 797. And she went about this by providing principals with monthly professional development to increase academic achievement. They focused on the power standards that were relevant to their kids as related to testing and as related to what they would need for the next grade level. Utilized STAR 360, just a myriad of different resources for that. They prioritized site visits, restructured collaborations on campuses, to produce some cross-curriculum instruction with science, mathematics, along with social studies and English. And she analyzed interim assessment data after each test administration with her principals, producing those results. I'd like to thank her for her hard work. My next director is Director of Curriculum, Ms. Teresa Jackson. Would you please stand? Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Her goal was related to the Reading Sufficiency Act, also known as RSA, and that was to increase the third grade passing rate on OSTP. And by utilizing STAR 360 data, she determined that school sites were on track for growth. The beginning of the school years compared to fall spring scores project the third grade students on track to meet this goal. It was an increase of 1%, and that translates to exactly 105 third graders who are now able to move forward and be able to be highly successful in the fourth grade. And so I'd like to thank Ms. Jackson for her red folder work on RSA. My next director is Chris Sharkey. Chris, will you please stand? Mr. Sharkey is my Director of Special Education. His goal was to decrease the number of special education dropouts. As of May 8th, 2019, special services and secondary schools have reduced the number of special education dropouts. Last year, as compared to this year, we've had a 20% reduction. We have gone from 30 for the school year 17-18 to 24 students for this current school year. So our trend is coming down. Special Services has assisted in providing homebound and home-based services for 55 students, some of which would have undoubtedly dropped out if not for this support. Special Services has also assisted potential dropout students in acquiring transportation, ensuring that they get to school, get those credits, and graduate. My next director is Director of Federal Programs, Teresa Donahue, right there behind me. Thank you, Ms. Donahue. Her goal was to increase awareness and knowledge of English learners, students' instructional needs. As you'll recall, our A through F report card put an emphasis on making sure that our English language learners are progressing, and this was part of her primary work this year. She provided training opportunities for teachers, counselors, principals, and district admin staff on home language surveys, the WIDA screener system, and the WIDA access testing. Training also included individual student growth targets and the all-important English language acquisition plans. Those are also known as ELAPs. EL instructional strategies were also addressed through professional development at learning-centered professional development instructions. Those are LCI meetings, continuing professional development sessions, and as well as shared on the LPS Federal Programs website and their new departmental newsletter. My last director is Chief David Hornbeck. Right over there in the corner, protecting us all. His goal this year was for enhanced elementary security, and he took bold steps this year with the support of the district. He has effectively hired and placed 10 elementary campus marshals. The department has also received state approval to host its own Police Reserve Academy on June 24th, which will further train the marshals. This is a highly coveted and difficult to achieve approval. We are anticipating marshal staffing to be complete by the 2019-2020 school year. And you would think I would have more directors, but I don't. Those are all of them. What questions do you have? Yes, ma'am.
The third grade star group.
Yes.
I'm a little confused on the district when all our numbers went up substantially, and there's a 48 there on the math.
Okay, I think that'll be, is that part of your data?
Uh-huh.
So they, that was the growth rate.
Okay, so it's,
Across the district.
okay. So it's substantially lower than the schools? I'm confused, Teresa.
Yeah, you're just looking at an average on that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
What other questions do you have? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Mattingly, Executive Director of Student Services. My responsibilities encompass athletics, career education, high school counselors and career advisors, alternative education programming, and student services. And I'm currently also in charge of the acquisition of the furniture for the SIP bond initiative. I'd like to begin tonight by sharing the progress that Mr. Dees, Gary Dees, our athletic director, has made on his goal this year. And his goal statement was to develop and implement professional development in his department. I'm happy to say that Mr. Dees has made good progress toward his goal. On October 31st, he implemented training on the National Federation of High School Associations coaches certification, which is a requirement for all coaches. With this focus, he was able to get 100% of his currently hired coaches certified prior to the October 1 accreditation deadline. I say currently certified because throughout the year he hired multiple coaches for spring. So not every coach was certified at that time, but everyone who was on staff at the time. Also on the 31st, he scheduled Kids Healthy Heart Challenge training with a guest speaker for the elementary PE instructors. And our PE instructors have not really had anyone to lead their professional development focus since Marky Payne was in the district several years ago. So Mr. Dees has taken on that challenge. On October 12th, a wellness policy update was presented, and the PE teachers gave their feedback and input on the policy in preparation of Board of Education approval. On January 4th, a certified Healthy Oklahoma training was planned, along with a CrossFit training. This training was canceled due to weather, so it was rescheduled for March 15th, along with the U.S. Tennis Association training for the PE staff. Mr. Dees was also instrumental in creating a professional development committee within the PE department to focus on PE-specific training for those days that Lawton Public Schools allows breakouts for the different elective groups and different groups that don't have specific focuses. So as you can see, Mr. Dees stayed focused on his goal throughout the year. Regarding student services goal, my goal that I presented back in September was to develop career readiness programs and activities. And I'm happy to say this year the high schools increased their internship enrollment from 69 students last year to 122 this year. That reflects 9% of all of our juniors and seniors involved in some kind of internship. So we feel like that's significant. We also held our first senior conference on November 27th, where over 750 seniors came to Lawton First Assembly and received training, went to workshops on different kinds of life skills and career training, employability training. We have the second one scheduled for October 15th. We moved it up earlier in the year because we felt like the sooner we could do it for these seniors, the better it would be for them. And we've got great collaboration with the community on this and looking forward to it being even bigger and better. Eisenhower High School collaborated with Cameron University and Western Junior College to implement Club Scrub, which is a introductory club to the nursing profession. Cameron and Western staff hold monthly meetings with activities that are nursing related, and they had an average attendance of 24 students at that. The Aim for Lawton program saw 20 sophomores from our high schools attend a 3-day, 2-night leadership academy in February. The students and the participating organizations gave it great reviews. This program sparked a partnership with Leadership Lawton, and Lynn Cordes and her communication department has developed a document that allows local businesses and organizations that are interested in mentoring or internships or any kind of post-secondary related type of activity for our students. They can sign on with LPS through this document. And this will be a valuable tool for our counselors and our career advisors as a resource for placing students in those spots. Plans are in the works for the second year of Aim for Lawton. We've already set the schedule on that for February 12th through 14th of 2020. Looking forward to that. All of our high schools, I'm happy to say, have their individual career and academic plan implementation site plans ready to go for 2019-20. David Irwin and Systems Information assisted us by developing a tracking application, and this is a massive undertaking in tracking every 9th through 12th grader over the next 4 years to make sure they've got this plan done. And so David developed this tracking application for us that it is really going to help our counselors and principals to be able to keep up with to monitor the progress of their students and know who is doing what they need to be doing. Finally, through all of these activities, we have enhanced our partnerships with Great Plains Technology Center, Cameron, the City of Lawton, Fort Sill, and a host of local businesses and organizations that will help us grow post-secondary opportunities for our students. So, do you have any questions?
It's been a fun year.
Okay, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manning.
Good evening. I'm Lynn Cordes, Executive Director of Media and Technology Services, and I have the distinct pleasure of introducing my team first. So I'm going to ask them to stand as I call their name. Information Systems Director David Irwin, Media Operations Director Dave McDermott, and Information Technology Director AJ Watson. Our team's vision and mission this year was to establish a high-functioning pipeline of services to all stakeholders through positive collaboration and impactful experiences. We continuously strive to ensure there is a system for two-way communication in an effort to gain understanding and provide district support. With that said, let me start first with Mr. David Irwin's big rock of automated data error notification and correction. He created a software system that scans Infinite Campus, which was a huge endeavor and a big help to our district to become more efficient. This new web app picks up changes from Infinite Campus and creates a weblog. This weblog is tied to his staff so that they can go in daily and check for any updates or changes to student records. And therefore, they are not waiting for paperwork to come back to them, and they can make these changes timely so that we can get our students' records updated. At this time, it checks census and enrollment right now, and he's continuing this progress so that he can add more data sets that will help our schools with that. Dave McDermott's big rock is to review stock items of need in instructional supplies in our basement requisitions. After they reviewed their inventory, they did find that we had several stagnant items, 7 of which were removed from basement supply. A survey was sent to each employee in the district, and I had the opportunity to review what their survey said, and we had a lot of great input from our staff that made us move even more forward with items that they would like to see down there for their need for the students. We can't remember a time where they were ever asked what their needs were, and so this is the first time that they've been able to give input to receive new items down in basement supply. We have added 12 new items, and right now they're currently sent out for bid, and then we will add that once we receive that into our inventory, so by the start of the next school year. We are truly excited about bringing the new items, and just to note, on an average, $180,000 worth of inventory goes through basement supplies that is used to support our district and our teachers. We will continue to make great strides to provide our staff with what they need to support our students. Mr. A.J. Watson's big rock was quality assurance. In September, the Information Technology Department sent out a feedback form. Currently, 285 surveys have been completed, and the results of this form overwhelmingly showed that work orders are being completed in a timely manner, the technicians are helpful and friendly on the job, and a quality job is being completed. Those negative responses that were received, there were 12 of the 285, but they had to deal with how to import work orders, how to input it, where to go. They just didn't have clarification. And for those responses, Mr. A.J. Watson and his network administrator, Dieter Wolf, contacted them personally to see what their concerns were, addressed it, and immediately rectified. So they were content and satisfied once they had contact with them. The feedback form also helped our principals in the district, and it's been positive as far as what's been going on, and he does a great job reaching out to see if there's anything he can do and improve, and so they're continuously working. I also get to oversee the communication department, and my big rock this year was to coordinate the district's available forms of communication to keep our public informed of news that involves our district and our students. Our department was divided into teams so that we could effectively, efficiently, and timely handle all incoming news. We have a lot of great things to celebrate, and we do not want to be late with sharing that news. So each of my team members has a different section that we control, whether it's local media, website, social media, our app, or notifications. So everybody's assigned to something, and there's multiple. So even if one is out, we can take care of that. We also identified a point of contact for each school to reach out to if we have not heard from them in a while, so that we can go out there and celebrate the good things, because sometimes they run out of time to notify us, so it's our job to make sure we can celebrate them as well. And a lot of their staff has reached out and sent us articles that we include, which during this process we found that we're missing one platform, which is the newspaper. Not with a constitution, but that we don't get to push everything out when it happens, so we like to review what happened in the month, and with that we established the first ever district LPS in review newspaper. We've been fortunate to be sponsored by the Lawton Constitution, and they provide 1,000 free copies for us to give to our students, our parents, and community members, and we have businesses that sponsor as well, so that the money goes right back to our kids. And we're excited about that, and we have a digital version, so we will continue to grow the good things that are going on in our district and community. And do you have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cordes?
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Brownhill, the Chief Financial Officer, and this is Ms. Paula Deal. She is the Payroll Director. I oversee the finance department, which consists of fixed assets, accounts payable, school activity, purchasing, and a few others. But overall, I deal mostly with payroll and then the ins and outs of the finance department. I will begin with Ms. Deal's big rock that she reported in on September 4th of 2018. Her big rock was the finalization of the Frontline Time and Attendance program. Currently, all Lawton Public School employees are using the Frontline system. The certified employees use the system for leave input only, and the support staff uses the system for leave as well as time and attendance, clocking in and out each day. All teachers' leave scanner sheets have been eliminated. Thank you, Paula. And 98% of the support time cards have been eliminated. The 2% difference consists of those employees that do not work at a site, such as crossing guards, site bus drivers, the DRS students that work out in the sites. They do not clock in and out, so they use a time card. Also, the St. Mary's and Parker Point employees do not clock in and out on our frontline system. Payroll assisted the campus users and supervisors with weekly approvals and reconciliations combined with job routine procedures for the payroll department so that they would be more efficient and effective in how they run their payroll office. Also, the payroll department collaborates with HR on all MLOA and FMLA situations to ensure and reduce the number of overpaid employees that we have. In September, I presented on streamlining the financial reports that were being used. As most of you, except Ms. Bradley, who was not on the board at the time, you may remember that the reports that you received consisted of almost a book. So I worked hard on reducing those from 40 pages to 2 at the moment. Oftentimes, the information reported can be complex and difficult to read if you don't have a finance background. I have a finance background, and looking at all of those reports was a little intimidating to myself. So leaving it with just 1 or 2 pages, it gives the stakeholders, the board, and anyone else looking at those documents a clear snapshot of what our financial performance and position is at that time. So, and although I have reduced those number of reports, that's not to say that I won't increase them a little bit, because I feel with technology changing all the time, there's always going to be new ways to report, and I want to make sure that we are transparent to everyone that's looking at those documents, as well as staying in compliance with all of the state and federal laws that we have to abide by. Are there any questions? No? Thank you.
Are you glassy-eyed yet? Bring up the end with 4 additional departments, and I'll begin with Mr. Trey Cook, Director of Transportation. This year, he began the year with the challenges of thrill share notifications. And if you'll recall, at the end of the year, we were battling notifications of late buses arriving to pick students up, as well as late buses arriving at sites to take students home. We began an optimal communication for parents and for schools using a new software called Thrill Share. And in that particular notification, it allows transportation to send out a notice that the bus is going to be either arriving late at your pickup point or arriving late at your school and delivering your children home later than normal. This was to help ease some of the frustrations with parents when they were looking for their children. The messages were designed to originate from transportation so that the parents would not be obligated to look for principals or teachers at the school when they were being transported by that department. The consumers would be informed in a timely manner. And additionally, there's continuous feedback and evaluation. It's ongoing, and it will be continued next year. The next will be Ms. Jean Hastings, Director of Human Resources. Ms. Hastings' big rock that she reported on in September was the recruitment to reflect student composition. In her efforts, Mrs. Hastings was tasked with teacher recruitment, and she provided direct feedback tied to 5 state universities to attract certified applicants to Lawton Public Schools. She used compiled data for both staff and student populations in order to attract those individuals. A sample of a data sheet that she created is behind that page that shows her big rocks, so you'll be able to take a look at that piece of information. And it was used to illuminate points that could help impact student performance, as well as increase professional discussion between staff and the academic impact during staffing for the current year. The next is Mr. Steve Dyer. He is the Director of Child Nutrition. And Steve, you're behind me? Okay. Mr. Dyer's, thank you. Mr. Dyer was, his big rock was manager and training program, which was huge because we found ourselves in a dilemma trying to place campus child nutrition managers in cafeterias that hadn't been fully trained by the beginning of the school year. So they were moving from a position into a higher position that was a lot more complex at the beginning of a school year, which is horrific for anybody moving into anything new, even for those that are coming in as classroom teachers. And so it helps now to be able to say that we have completed the hiring of 5 manager in training positions specifically designed to improve the workforce and to help with the professional knowledge before entering into the managerial position in child nutrition. To date, we've successfully hired 5. We've provided training and promoted 1 as of March, and we have another that we'll promote in August of fiscal year 20. Another has decided that managerial training is not for her. And that is also a good thing to discover. If it's not for you, it's better to do that before you're hired into the position. And so she has been successfully reintroduced into the position of cook in one of our cafeterias, and it is working very well. And the last is Mr. Jeremy Tanner, Facilities Operations. Mr. Tanner came to us brand new at the beginning of this fiscal year, and he was challenged with ensuring that we introduced and integrated Sodexo facilities management into Lawton Public Schools. In his efforts, he began first by introducing the Sodexo processes to our personnel before bringing in any components of that so that we would be able to begin learning before we were asked to implement those processes. He reports the positive results of the introduction of new management systems, processes, and technology, enhanced relationships with vendors, enhanced relationships with suppliers, and enhanced relationships with contractors to Lawton Public Schools. The greatest fear for all of us at the onset of this venture was the fear of the unknown. And as we completed this first year of engagement, we know that management in maintenance, custodial, and grounds have all realized successes, and we've conquered their fears and our fears along the way. The rollout process occurred over the course of the year. Training has been completed and was almost painless in some areas, and we have completed, and now Lawton Public Schools facilities operations is a part of our managerial process. This is the conclusion of our report for the 4. Do you have any questions of these team members or anyone else? And you have lots of information.
Go ahead.
First off, on the report that goes out to tell the parents and stuff at the school that the bus is going to be late, I know at the school my grandson goes to, we also get that alert. Does that just go to every student in the building, or can it be modified to just the students that are actually riding the buses?
I'm going to defer that question to Mr. Cook, of course.
Great question. What happens is when we send that out, anyone through the school that is signed up for the notifications will receive that.
Okay.
It doesn't go district-wide, it just goes to the individual schools.
So if they just signed up for it, even if they okay, I understand.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Bradley?
Go ahead.
I'm wondering if we have positive feedback from that,
From the thrill shares?
Yes.
We have had better feedback that parents know about the late buses. There's still anguish about the fact that there are. And that's another problem that we're trying to solve. So I share that, and I share the anguish of our parents through that particular course. But this was the notification, and Mr. Cook, if you want to share anything about the feedback that you've received, please do so.
We do get positive feedback, and as Ms. Ellis stated, people are not happy that their buses are running late, but it gives them an opportunity to make adjustments. And if they know that their bus is going to be running 15 to 20 minutes late, they're not sending their children out to the bus stops in that time. It's been positive, and we adjust it as it goes, and we take the feedback, and we try to adjust it as we see we can.
Well, I think it's awesome. I did bus duty for 23 years every day, so.
It's good.
You'd like a blurb.
My next question is, if nobody else has a question? On the Sodexo, our maintenance and stuff, are we gonna get like their overall summary of where our sites are at?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You will have more information than you could possibly believe.
I understand, and I know that's gonna happen.
We have talked
In
about,
July? Okay.
on a monthly basis, we've talked about all of the information that we have gathered and studied and looked at. And Mr. Tanner is in the process of going through file after file after file to provide accurate information for you, but we know that we can't do that until the end of the year. And so, though he has some partial reports that he could provide to you, he will do that at a later date.
Well, I mean, as you know, leaky roofs are a big bane of my existence. And so we've had such a terrible spring, and roofs leaking, they're just all over me. So I would really like to get that, when we could, what roads are leaking and what we need to do to get those patched or fixed.
Okay? And we'll make sure you have that information.
Can you introduce him once again so I'll know who he is?
Mr. Jeremy Tanner.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
I do like the fact that our grounds are mowed all the time. They look really nice, and I really it is nice. They're always very manicured looking.
I've also been told by someone who's been visiting on many of the campuses recently that all of our facilities seem to be extremely clean. Good. And in great order. And that is wonderful to hear.
Yes, it is.
Very proud of that.
We do think that the report is going to be an awesome enlightenment for the district. We do. So we thank you for that. Are there any other questions?
No, I have went around and checked the sites to make sure they were mowed, though. No,
So-
I didn't. No, I didn't.
She did not.
No, thank you very much.
To all of you, thank you for letting me provide you a glimpse of our day-to-day processes. You have lots of information, and I'm sure that as you study this, you may have questions. Please feel welcome to contact us about that information as you need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I did a great job.
Now we
Can we make a comment first?
Yes, sir.
I'm just so grateful for this information, but even more so what it represents, the amount of work and the Big Rock program, and how much you guys have embraced it and taken it to heart, and appreciate all the work by administration staff. It's amazing.
Okay, report of the superintendent.
Oh, under the report of superintendent, I don't have anything except for my announcements, so I'll share a few little bits of good news with the board. First of all, I want to make notice, we have several members of the Ministerial Alliance in the room. Would you all stand up to be recognized? Just a reminder, some ribbon cuttings over the next few days. The 17th we have, and you have that before you, I believe, and our graduation's coming up next week. Lawton Public Schools police officers Seeley, Miles, Pender, and Tillman attended the Special Olympics Oklahoma 50th Anniversary Games opening ceremonies yesterday in Stillwater. This is the first time our officers have been invited to participate, and they led the athletes from Lawton Public Schools field onto the field.
Awesome.
It's a big deal.
That's awesome.
Super.
Pat Henry Elementary has been selected as an overall winner of the Carver Chain Reaction Challenge for creativity and ingenuity displayed by students earlier this year. Pat Henry was only one of 100 schools nationwide selected for the competition, and one of 9 Chain Reaction Challenge overall winners. The Garver Gives Committee will deliver a trophy and $1,000 to the school.
So what's a chain reaction?
May 21st.
What is that?
What is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Does anybody know what a chain reaction is?
It was led by the awesome STEM teacher there, so it has to do with STEM.
It's an experiment, isn't it?
A lot more complicated than I can explain, but Ms.
That's what I
Bickler
thought.
is the STEM teacher there, and she led the way.
Awesome.
I can just speak for Pat Henry. My grandson goes there. I love it. It's an awesome school.
And one quick one. I got an email right before, and I tried to print it out, but I just got notice from the Oklahoma State Department of Career Tech that we received several grants from the Lottery Fund. And that would be, we received agricultural ed for Mr. Stotts, Ms. Terry Holman, Mr. Family Consumer Sciences. Are those our people or are those the wrong? Well, anyways, I'm not sure where we received them, but we received several grants. Let's just ignore those names I gave you. Those are Career Tech people. We received several grants.
I remind the board that Gateway graduation is tomorrow morning.
Yes, that's right.
Yep, that's on their
They
list.
told me today that they have quite a large graduating class.
Super.
Yep.
We'll be there.
And Gateway is on your list that Denise has
I'll be
provided.
there.
Yes, yes.
That's all I have.
Right after the 8 o'clock.
Okay, consent agenda. Does anybody need anything removed from the consent agenda? Okay.
Move for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Call roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
Okay. Where are we at?
9.
All the way down to 9. Now I know where Kent got lost. It just kind of moves on you. Okay. Do we have a proposed executive session? We have a need for executive session, I believe, so a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Who made the motion?
Me.
Okay. Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
Call roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
Okay. Statement of executive session minutes. The Board of Education went into executive session at 6:10 PM. Members present included Carla Clodfelter, President, Patty Nyworth, Vice President, Mary Bradley, Kent Jester. Others present included Tom Deegan, Superintendent, stepped out at 6:23 PM. Items discussed included the employing, promoting, or receiving resignation of individual certified and support salary personnel as listed on the certified and support personnel reports, the selection of payroll coordinator, the selection of elementary assistant director of teaching and learning, the selection of middle school assistant director of teaching and learning, the selection of high school assistant director of teaching and learning, the selection of assistant superintendent, and the resignation of Superintendent Dr. Tom Deegan effective June 30th, 2019. During the executive session, the board discussed these items and no other items, and no action was taken. The board returned to open session at 6:55 PM. This constitutes the minutes of the executive session. Right, I would like to read a statement. At this point, what? No, not
Gotta
yet.
wait until we vote.
Oh, do I have to vote?
Superintendent's personnel
Oh, yeah, we forgot we got to vote.
report, 13A.
Under Superintendent's Personnel Report, item 13A, we have the approval of the certified and support personnel reports.
Move for approval.
Second?
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
13B.
Under item 13B, we have the approval of selection of payroll coordinator, and the recommendation, Ms. Shala Cortez Orndorff.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
With your permission, Madam President, I'm just going to go ahead and say items 13C, D, and E. We'll have no action on tonight.
Okay.
13C, D, and E, Kathy. And then finally, on item 13F, approval of the selection of the assistant superintendent. The committee has recommended Mr. Stephen Eichmann.
Move for approval?
Second.
Call roll.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
13G.
Oh, 13G on here.
You don't have it?
I do
It's-
have it on here, though. 13G, approval of resignation of Superintendent Deegan effective June 30th, 2019.
I make a motion that we accept the resignation of Superintendent Deegan
Wait a minute.
with, no, I'm not finished with the motion.
You're too eager.
And I also move that we waive the $7,500 unilateral termination provision of the contract.
You have a motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. All right, I have.
Ms. Bradley?
Oh, yeah, we'll get to.
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
Now, can I read the statement that I've been trying to read for the last? For 5 minutes? Okay. This is a statement from the Lawton Public Schools Board of Education. Tonight, Dr. Tom Deegan submitted his resignation to the board effective June 30th, 2019, and the board has accepted his resignation. Over the last 6 years, he has led our district on a pathway to excellence. The LPS Board of Education wishes to thank Dr. Deegan for his 6 years of service to LPS and wish him all the best in his new endeavor. And we will have a reception to honor his retirement or his leaving, but we don't have the date yet, so we will set that probably tonight or tomorrow, and Lynn will get that out district-wide.
Thank you, Ms. Clodfelter.
14. I know, it must be this bot. It keeps jumping around on me. Okay. All right, so I'm going to, yes, we're going to appoint a committee to find an interim superintendent for us tonight, and the committee will consist of 2 board members, These board members, after discussion, will be Kent Jester and Patty Nyworth. And when they have a candidate that they want to bring, then we will set a special board meeting to discuss it with the board. So I'd like to make a motion, we accept that committee.
Okay. Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
All right. So, new business. Do we have any new business?
We do have new business, and that's the approval of the underground right-of-way easement as presented by Mr. Corey from
Move for
AIP.
approval of the right-of-way.
Call roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
All right, the next regular board meeting is, date right now, it's set for June 3rd, 2019 at 5 o'clock. Gosh darn, my computer has just jumped all over the place. We don't know if we have any desires for new board meeting dates. We may. So, any board announcements?
Happy graduation.
All right. Can somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait on Kent. Second.
Call roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Clodfelter?
Yes.
Ms. Nyworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.